What's going on, you guys? So it's Bushido's Monologue, episode 7. And this is the big week. This is the big fight week. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 is going down this upcoming Saturday. It's a big fight, got the boxing world buzzing. And we're going to see how that plays out. But before we talk about that, let's talk about some other things that happened this week. Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos has gotten picked up by Matchroom Boxing and DAZN. So Eddie Hearn is going to be promoting the event. Teofimo Lopez is getting $900K extra. It's not going to be as much as he would have gotten if he had to fought for Triller, but he's going to be getting 35 something, 3.5 million or something like that. And Kambosos is going to be getting like 1.5 in total for this upcoming fight on DAZN now. And Teofimo Lopez, I mean, I'd seen this coming with this guy. I said early on, when he first started going against Bob Arum, I said that was a bad idea. That was a bad idea. He's not established enough in the sport to be, doing what he was doing, basically. And now, yeah, he's in a situation to where Teofimo Lopez ain't really looked at in the same light from boxing fans. A lot of boxing fans just don't believe in Teofimo Lopez no more. And I've seen this shit coming. If you've been following your boy Bushido for a while, I told you guys this was coming. I had a feeling this was going to happen once I seen his behavior before he fought Lomachenko. I'm like, him beating Loma may not be the best thing for the division, And sure enough, he still has yet to fight George Kambosos, but it's looking like that's finally about to go down. And Teofimo Lopez had quite a bit to say about some of his rivals in the division. He went on a rant about Tank Davis and Rolly. He talked about Devin Haney, but he's not fighting these guys, He's not fighting these guys, and boxing fans really don't care what Teofimo Lopez has to say at this point. I mean, he was talking about going up to fight Josh Taylor in a unification fight at catchweight. And, what does Josh Taylor have to really gain from, gaining your belts at a division he's not going to be able to fight at? It just doesn't even make sense. For him to fight you at a catchweight. If you're having trouble making 135, why don't you just go up to 140 and fight him? See, Teofimo Lopez, he's really playing games, and boxing fans ain't turned on by it. He didn't capture fans' hearts enough. He hasn't been around long enough for him to really be moving like how he's moving. See, certain fighters can move that way. Why? Because they have an established fan base. The fans believe in them. The fans know who they are. The fans know what they're capable of. The fans know, what I'm saying? Like guys like Canelo, he can do certain things. Why? Because he has an established fan base, an established foundation. So he can do things that guys like Teofimo Lopez can't do. Teofimo Lopez ain't put in the work yet. Just because you got Lomachenko up out the way doesn't mean you put in the work just yet. We still wait on this guy to fight his mandatory and George Kambosos. That fight should have been happened. We should already be talking about what's next. But nonetheless, it's going down. We're going to see what happens. I'm hoping Kambosos pulls it off because, quite honestly, I'm just tired of Teofimo Lopez. And it'll be nice for George Kambosos to get that belt. And normally I don't really root against the American fighters. But Teofimo Lopez... Nah, he ain't really what it do, He's not moving like a champion. He's not moving like he's comfortable with the bullseye on his back. So, good riddance if he loses to Kambosos, but may the best man win. But moving forward, Demetrius Andrade got a fight with Jason Quigley coming up. I mean, at this point, I don't know. Boo-Boo just going to have to take a risk, take a chance, maybe move up to 168. Do something, because Jason Quigley's just not what it do, bro. And I know he having a hard time finding opponents, and, you can only fight who's willing to fight you, But Jason Quigley, bro, like, I don't know. Jason Quigley, bro, I mean, Demetrius Andrade is going to get stale if he don't start getting these big fights to where he can, get excited about, be motivated. He didn't look too good in his last fight against that guy that he was supposed to beat. That guy really showed up and showed out on him. And Andre didn't look necessarily great against that guy. This is why he needs to be fighting guys like Charlo. And, these guys need to start fighting each other now. They already in their 30s. They already looking bad. They both looked bad in their past performances and shit, and they still not fighting each other, man. It's just ridiculous. The middleweight division is just really, it could be great, but it's lackluster. Why? Because the fighters in the division not fighting each other. So who really cares about the middleweight division at all? You know, it's just unfortunate. The middleweight division is one of the glamour divisions in boxing, along with the welterweight division and heavyweight division and the lightweight division. But the middleweight division ain't been doing shit. Got all these fighters in that division, and none of them really fighting each other. None of them. You know, Derevyanchenko can't fight every fucking body. I mean, shit. So Jason Quigley, Demetrius Andre fighting Jason Quigley is just not something to really get excited about at all whatsoever. And it's really, I mean, it's not Boo Boo Andre fault at this point. You know, maybe you could say, you know, he made some bad business moves in the past, but that was years ago now. What's up with the smoke now? Nobody wants to take that belt from that dude. Even though he looked like, you know, he looked like shit his last fight. He didn't look great. And they still don't want to fight him. So, yeah, that says a lot about Boo Boo Andre. Hopefully he just looks good against this Jason Quigley guy. And then in 2022, hopefully something big happens. You know, I wouldn't hold my breath because, you know, this is boxing, but we'll see. Vasily Lomachenko, Richard Comey is official for December 11th. That's a fight that's going down now. You know, since Lomachenko can't get Teofimo, he has to fight Richard Comey now. Both guys are coming off pretty impressive performances, so it should be a really good fight for both men. I really don't have no horse in the race or anything like that when it comes to that type of fight. I like Richard Comey. I like Lomachenko. I'm a fan of Lomachenko. He's one of my guys. So I think if Lomachenko shows up like he did against Nakatani, I think he should really do the job against Richard Comey. Lomachenko looked incredible in his last fight, in my opinion. I don't think nobody would have beat that Loma on that night. So if he carries that momentum into a fight with Richard Comey, I expect the same type of outcome. But you never know with Richard Comey. You know, the dude could punch, and, you know, he's around at the top of the division for a reason. So you can never count a guy like Richard Comey out of a fight. We just got to see how it plays out. Styles make fights at the end of the day. And Lomachenko is a smaller man fighting at lightweight. So we're going to see how that plays out. Should be a good fight. Also, another fight we got in December that's just been announced is Tank Davis versus Rolando Romero. Rolly. And that should be a good fight, man. I mean, that's a fight that I've been saying that it should happen. It's a fight that really makes sense for boxing. It's a fight that just makes sense for Mayweather promotion. It's just a fight that makes sense, period. It's an in-house fight. Floyd said, you know, we do an in-house fight. So, yeah, you got to do that one. And it should be a good fight. I got Tank Davis winning that fight. I think Tank Davis, I think the hype is real with Tank Davis. And even though he's not the guy that's going to be out here calling guys out and talking shit, I think that if you point in the direction and say fight that guy, I think he'll fight him. So even though Tank isn't the most vocal guy as far as fighting opposition, I do believe Tank Davis will fight whoever Floyd Mayweather put in front of him. So that should be a really good fight. Rolando Romero is a very good villain for the sport of boxing. He's a good villain for the division. And that's a good bad guy for Tank. So it should be a really good fight. Both guys could punch. We know Rolly's going to come to fight. We know Tank's going to come to fight. And that's a really, really good fight to top off the end of the year, along with, you know, Vasily Lomachenko and Richard Comey later on the following week. So that should be a really good fight, Tank Davis versus Rolando Romero. Tank Davis has been on a roll. And, Teofimo Lopez criticized that fight, saying Tank Davis moving around from weight class to weight class. I'm like, don't you worry about Tank Davis. You just worry about fighting your fucking mandatory, T.O. You know what I'm saying? Because Tank Davis is doing his damn thing, and he's staying busy. So whatever the case, you're not fighting Tank. You're not even fighting Devin. He got the belt that you need to become undisputed. You're not even trying to fight him. So, you know, and the thing is, Devin Haney, it's unfortunate Devin Haney is in the situation he's in, but that's what happens when you're too good for your own good. You know, these guys have no reason not to fight Dev. You know, Devin Haney got money behind him. I mean, really, there's no reason not to fight Devin Haney other than the fact that you don't believe that you can beat him. And that's likely the scenario with Ryan Garcia and Jojo Diaz. They don't think they can beat Devin. Oscar De La Hoya don't believe so either. So therefore, we're going to downplay Devin, act like he, you know, wasn't promoted well enough and shit like that, just to, you know, save face from the fact that my two fighters are fighting off in a duck off. You know what I'm saying? These dudes. I was really surprised that Oscar came out and said those things. You know what I'm saying? I was really surprised, but him being a businessman, that's him with his business suit on. You know, the fighter Oscar wouldn't have said that bullshit, but he knows what's up with Devin Haney. He knows his guys likely will lose against Devin Haney, then boom, there go his cash cow. So hopefully Jojo Diaz knocks out Ryan Garcia, and then we can get the show, we continue this show. You know what I'm saying? Because I know Jojo Diaz, he's only doing what he's told. You know what I'm saying? He's only doing what he's told. He probably got paid a lot of money to ignore Devin Haney. So we're going to see what happens if he knocks out Ryan Garcia. If that fight looks funny, man, like I said in my last monologue, if that fight looks funny, I just expect it to look funny. Jojo Diaz, to me, is a tough guy. He gave Gary Russell a tough fight, and, he beat Tevin, shit like that. So I think Jojo Diaz is a tough fighter. And I think you really have to go out there and beat him to beat him. So if Ryan Garcia goes out here and just mollywops and easily beats Jojo Diaz, I'm going to be questioning that shit. I'm going to be questioning it. But Jaime Munguia and Gabe Rosado is going down. A lot of people was upset with Jaime Munguia. They expect him to fight somebody at the top of the division, somebody with a belt. He was next in line to fight a guy with a belt, but he's going off to fight Gabe Rosado. I mean, Gabe Rosado may pull it off against him. Gabe Rosado arguably beat Danny Jacobs in his last fight. So, I like Gabe Rosado. I like fighters like Gabe Rosado. The guy that had the blue chip fighters, the guy that had to get it the hard way. He fought some of everybody. He had no easy fights. He never really had a break to where he had an easy fight. And, he fights his heart out. So I got a lot of love and respect for guys like Gabe Rosado. And Gabe Rosado in particular, he's a real warrior. He never ducked no smoke. So those guys must be respected in the sport. Even though they don't win every night out, you got to respect them because they are important for the sport. And so salute to Gabe Rosado. And I believe he can get the job done if he's well prepared and in shape. If he got anything left, because he's been in a lot of tough fights, a lot of wars. But if he got anything left, he could possibly beat Jaime Munguia as long as he don't get robbed. So that's a good fight for Gabe Rosado, and I'm rooting for him to get the job done against Jaime Munguia. But the big fight this weekend, man, we got a nice stack card. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. We got pretty much a stacked heavyweight event card. F.A. Ajagba versus Frank Sanchez. I honestly can't call that one. Robert Hurlanius versus Adam Kwanaki, the rematch. Big Baby Anderson, Jared Anderson versus, I forgot the guy's name, Tekenshin or whatever his name is. And, it's a nice little card for heavyweight boxing. I think it's a good thing. I think this is a good thing. Bob Arum came out and said that him and PBC are in good relations right now. So according to Bob Arum, but Bob Arum snapped off on Mike Coppinger. I posted the little clip earlier. He snapped off on Mike Coppinger because Mike Coppinger said something about giving these guys what they want as far as purse splits and stuff. And Bob Arum went off on him and shit. And, it's funny. But to talk about with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, that's the big one, right? Everybody's been talking about that fight. Everybody was talking about the grand arrival, the press conference. A lot of people seem to believe that Tyson Fury has a lot of nervous energy. I believe so my damn self. I mean, he didn't want to sit down. He was bringing up the cheating. He never not once denied the cheating allegations, right? He never, not once. Nobody from his team ever denied anything. Even Mark Breland never denied anything. None of these guys never exactly denied anything, right? But I guess that's in the past now. All this cheating shit, it's all in the past. And this fight's going to be covered from all angles. They're going to be watching Fury. This is going to be a real fight this time. I think Deontay Wilder, like I said before, for months, he's going to get this guy up out of there. I said Wilder in 4. And that's what I believe is going to happen. If it goes past 4, I still believe Deontay Wilder's going to knock him out. I still believe the Bronze Bomber is going to get the job done. I just don't see what Tyson Fury can do in the third fight to really beat this guy. What he's going to do, maul him and lay up on him and, do all that shit he was doing. I think it was certain circumstances that enabled him to do what he did in that second fight. I don't think he'll necessarily be able to do that in the third fight. Lean on him and, push him around and all that. I don't think it's going to be that easy this time around, It's going to be a totally different fight. I've been saying it and I'm going to stand on it. A lot of guys is on the fence about it, but I'm all the way off the fence on it. I'm standing right in the middle of the motherfucking street, and I'm telling you that Deontay Wilder is going to stop this fucking guy. He's nervous. He's a nervous mess. He tried to play it off, tried to be funny, but nobody was laughing. Tyson Fury knows his end is coming. He knows it. Deep down, he's not too sure about himself. Remember, when we hear these stories, the Wilder haters never going to talk about these things, but when you hear shit like, he needs confidence and, shit like that, and then when you hear him come on these interviews saying, well, it was just a training camp, he didn't say it was good or bad. He said it's just a training camp. You have good days, you have bad days. Nobody's never 100%. So pretty much he's telling us that his training camp went horribly. His training camp went horribly. But see, the fans got this perception that Deontay Wilder just sucks so badly that even Fury untrained or out of shape and everything else, he's going to beat Wilder. But even in a second fight, right, Wilder fought Bermain and then, Luis Ortiz back to back. Then went right into a Fury fight. Tyson Fury took 2 fights with 2 tune-up guys in between the first and the second fight. That's the only reason why Wilder fought the guys that he fought in between the second fight. Is because of Tyson Fury. Or was it Bermain Stavern and no. It was Luis Ortiz and Dominic Brazil, right? One of the two. Either way. Wilder had to take those fights because, Tyson Fury was over here bullshitting. He wanted to take 2 tune-ups in between instead of just continuing the show. It's a lot of fucking questionable things that nobody really questions this dude for. But everybody want to question Wilder and his costume and why he got his chick with him. Everybody's so concerned about Wilder, but then they don't care about Wilder. So which is it? Oh, and speaking of that, I know I went off earlier on my post press conference reaction video, right? I went off, and for you guys are wondering where Bushido be getting this energy from, I'm a fucking Gemini. So one day I might be cool as ice. Next day I might be fiery like fire, burning hot. So yeah, that's where that comes from. I'm a Gemini. But Deontay Wilder's going to knock this dude out. He's going to knock him out. He's going to beat him up, and he's going to knock him out. Nobody can give me an exact answer as to how Fury's going to beat this guy. Oh, well, he's going to maul him or he's just going to knock him out. I mean, like Fury's a one-shot knockout artist. Like Fury's a one-punch knockout artist. What? Absolutely can't wait for this fight, you guys. There's really not too much more to say. There's really not too much more to say in regards to this fight, this upcoming weekend, except for the fact that I can't wait till it's over so I can start talking shit on the internet and everything else. Because this has been a long time coming. We've been waiting a long time for this. A long time. It was to the point where we didn't know if it was going to happen again. We didn't know if it was going to happen again. But it's going down. Tyson Fury has to meet his maker. He has to answer to Deontay Wilder. And everything that he may have done in a sport that was dirty, that got swept under the rug, that nobody, the guys that he did wrong in camp and, sparring partners that he was been beating up with egg weights and shit like that, the guys that, got bullied, behind the scenes by him and his guys and shit like that. This is karma for all that shit, man. It's coming back tenfold this Saturday. It's coming back tenfold. What is Tyson Fury going to do? He said he's going to come out and make it a dog fight with Deontay Wilder. He's going to come out and make it a dog fight. I hope he does. I hope he comes out, throws caution to the wind, and let them hands go. I hope Fury comes out just like that. That way Wilder can knock him out in 60 seconds, and your boy Bushido can win really big. Because if he comes out ultra aggressive, I think this time, when Wilder isn't under them circumstances, I think he's going to get knocked the fuck out Brazil style. It's going to be similar to Dominic Brazil. He may even break his orbital in the process. Tyson Fury is going to be getting hit in his chest. He's going to be getting hit in his body. One thing I noticed about Tyson Fury, and boxing fans tend to not really talk about the technical aspects of things, and that's why I don't really talk about it. But one thing I do notice about Tyson Fury when we looking at him in the ring is that, while he may be elusive and he has really good footwork for a guy his size and his stature, one thing he don't do is make you miss and make you pay, right? He does all that evasive movement, but he don't necessarily make you pay. And I'm sure Team Wilder, Malik Scott seems like he's really, really got a good boxing mind. I'm sure they covered all angles of this fight. I'm sure that they're aware of just some of the things that I say. I'm sure they're already aware of it. I'm sure they're aware of the fact that Fury is not that guy like Floyd Mayweather. They'll make you miss and make you pay. He'll make you miss, and that's about it. He'll make you miss, and that's about it. He's really good at, of course, he's good at fighting dirty and manipulating the fight, but he's also good at making it look like he's doing more than what he's doing. He's really, really good at making it look like he's doing more than what he's doing. He's really good at being a ring general. He's really good at really just dictating the tempo. That's one thing Deontay Wilder cannot allow in this fight, is for Fury to dictate the pace. Wilder cannot allow himself to get caught in Tyson Fury's tempo. I don't think he will, but it's just something that he can't allow. Because that's what Tyson Fury does. He lulls you into his fight, into his tempo. He lulls you into fighting in his game. And Deontay Wilder simply just can't do that this time. He's going to have to attack the body, right? Fury comes in close, tried to roughhouse or lay on him. He's going to have to make him pay for it every time. Hard shots to the body. A lot of heavyweights don't throw body shots. They really just don't. Not really. Right? Not like they should. Not like maybe because they're too tall and, you don't want to be, going too low, leave your head open. It's heavyweight boxing. One shot can change everything. So heavyweight fighters tend to not go to the body as much, especially the bigger guys, the bigger heavyweights. They tend not to go to the body. But Deontay, could you imagine a guy like Wilder going to the body? A big body like Fury who has a lot of body? Could you imagine what a guy like Wilder could do if he hit you in the stomach? I mean, this is a really dangerous fight for Tyson Fury. Because if Wilder comes out, throws them hands, start attacking everywhere, his arms, just everywhere, his neck, his shoulders, everywhere, what is Fury going to do? He going to have to fight this guy off of him. But by him come rushing forward, he's going to be leaving himself open to get caught with that right hand, that lethal quick right hand. I think it's going to be a totally different fight this time around. It's going to be a totally different fight. People are making a big issue about the costume. They show a quick little snippet of what Wilder could potentially be wearing. It looked like the same costume from the last fight. I'm not too worried about the costume thing. Team Wilder knows what they got to do to get the job done. I don't think the costume is going to play a factor like a lot of the haters think. I think the whole fight is going to be different because Fury he hasn't manipulated the situation. Everybody is aware of the tricks, whether they believe it or not. People are aware of it, and they're going to be watching his gloves, his hand wraps, probably checking his gloves in between rounds. They're going to be doing all types of shit. So Tyson Fury is really out of his comfort zone. Not to mention, the fans don't seem to be on board with him too much, right? Not like the second fight, where, he was saying certain things and the fans was laughing and, really going along with it. But this time, nobody was laughing. They was calling him a crackhead. They was calling him a cheater and all types of other shit. So Tyson Fury senses that this may not go well for him. He's trying to downplay it and play it off like it's just a boxing match, but your opponent don't believe it's just a boxing match. He believes it's something else. This is revenge. This is redemption. This is retribution for him. This is totally, he's thinking about, he really wants this. This is not just a boxing match, bro. This guy's out to kill you, and you talking about this is a boxing match. The whole mentality is totally different. For Tyson Fury, he didn't want to sit down. Why? Because he didn't want people to see his legs shaking. He was pacing back and forth. He didn't want to, he just didn't seem too comfortable. He tried to play it off because he's good. He's a good bullshitter. But deep down, you already know this dude was nervous as shit dealing with the bronze bomber. Wilder was just sitting there cool, calm. People expected him to be able to have the gift of gab and go back and forth. For Fury, Wilder's never necessarily going to win that battle. But Tyson Fury displayed nervous energy. He never denied the cheating allegations, right? He'll play along with it and act like he did cheat, just to try to somewhat spin it. But we know what it is with this dude. The crowd was saying it. It's funny, Top Rank Telecast edited that part out. They didn't want people hearing that everybody in the crowd was calling him a crackhead and a cheater. They didn't want people to hear that. But if you go to the Fight Hype video of the press conference, then you hear it clearly because they're right there in the crowd with those people. So, yeah, I just feel that Wilder's going to get the job done. There's really no doubt in my mind. Malik Scott seemed like he's great for Wilder. He seemed like he has a really good boxing mind. He seemed like he really got every angle covered in this fight. Only thing that needs to happen now is for them to do the work. You know, they show a quick little snippet of Wilder sparring, and he's doing a lot of interesting things, man. He's doing some shit. He's doing some shit that I don't think Fury's going to be prepared for. But my main thing is what the reaction from boxing fans is going to be. The boxing fans for the better part of almost 2 years now, that's been really criticizing and downplaying and acting like Wilder just simply can't do it. I wonder what these guys are going to say. I wonder what these guys are going to say if the Bronze Bomber knocks out Tyson Fury like I believe he will. Are they going to come on here and congratulate Wilder? Are they going to give him his roses? Are they going to celebrate him as the greatest heavyweight of this era? Right? Because they saying Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight of all time. So if Wilder beats him in a trilogy fight, shouldn't that make Wilder the best? I mean, Wilder actually defended his title. Wilder actually did this. Wilder actually did that. Tyson Fury hasn't done none of that. Tyson Fury gets a lot of credit for beating a guy that supposedly ain't no good. But Wilder can't get no credit from beating anybody, not even Luis Ortiz, not nobody. He can't get no credit. So Wilder should get credit from beating Tyson Fury, right? He should get credit for beating Tyson Fury. I would think so. They say Fury is the greatest heavyweight since Ali and, and all this shit. And that's really, I think that's overdoing it. Because at least Ali defended his title. Ali didn't really play no games. He played games, okay? But when it came to fighting, he wasn't ducking no smoke. None of that shit. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a dirty fighter. None of that shit with Ali. But Tyson Fury, he's everything and above. He's everything and above. Should be a good fight. However long it lasts, I don't think it's going to last 12. I just don't see it lasting 12. If it lasts 12, Tyson Fury may not be the same guy. If Deontay Wilder comes out and does what he needs to do, this is going to be a really tough night for Tyson Fury. And we may never see him box again. And it's funny how your boy Bushido brought up the fact that in my live the other day, how many guys would have really been looking to fight a guy like that after what happened to him in the fight prior. Meaning Tyson Fury beat the shit out of Wilder, and he still wanted some smoke. Would AJ still had the will to fight after such a beating? Would anybody have the will to fight after such a beating? Right? But Deontay Wilder does, and he brought up the same thing. That I still wanted smoke after what happened in that second fight. I still wanted smoke. See, a lot of men can't grasp that reality. He took a beating, right? Take away the cheating shit. Take away what influence he may have been under. Deontay Wilder took a beating by this guy that outweighed him by what? How many pounds? He took a beating from this dude. And he still want to get back in there again. That says a lot about that guy. That says a lot about that guy. What Anthony Joshua, if he had taken that same type of beating that Wilder took, would he be in the same fighter? Would he even want to come back to box again? Shit like that could fuck a guy up mentally. Like I said, Deontay Wilder's crazy. Tyson Fury's crazy too. It's just two crazy guys going at it. They both crazy in different ways. Deontay Wilder crazy from the fact that his warrior mentality. I guess some may say it's crazy. You have to kill me type shit. Like Deontay, I truly believe he believes that I live and I die by this. I'm coming to knock you out and do vicious harm to you. I expect you to do the same. And if I fall, then I'm falling with my sword and shield in hand. I truly believe he lives by that. And that's when whatever gets you going, right? That type of shit ain't for everybody. Not everybody really likes to, but that's the mentality you got to have. You got to have that savage mentality. Deontay Wilder isn't a guy who grew up boxing his whole life to where it's like, so whatever likes to fire up under your ass, I say go for it. Whatever motivates you, I say go for it. But I expect a really good fight. I expect Deontay Wilder to show us what he's been working on. I think Malik Scott is probably one of the best things that happened for Wilder. And honestly, now looking back and thinking about how everything has come to full circle, I think that him losing to Tyson Fury in that second fight was possibly the best thing that happened for him. I think it was probably meant to happen, and we're going to see if he learned from it in a third fight. Because despite all the cheating and everything else that Tyson Fury may have done, Deontay Wilder also has to look at himself and correct the mistakes that he made. And that's just relying on his power. He just got too comfortable, not paying attention to his circle. He just got too comfortable, and it happens. It happens. I could imagine if I was a guy that could just knock out anything that moves, shit like that. He fell in love with the power. But Malik Scott has humbled him, and you can't say it's not humility by him getting trained by a guy he knocked out. He beat up Malik. He knocked out Malik Scott. Malik Scott's been a sparring partner and close friend for years, and now he's his head trainer. And Malik Scott seems to have gotten Wilder in the right mind state. Malik Scott seems like he's going to be a good trainer in the near future for boxing. He seems like he really has this thing figured out. And maybe that's Malik Scott's calling. It may not necessarily have been to become a world champion, but to become a world-class trainer. Because he seemed like he gets it all figured out. And we're going to see his work with Deontay Wilder this Saturday. This is a very important fight for boxing, very interesting fight, and it's going to be remembered for history. This is heavyweight boxing. Ain't nothing better. But yeah, I got Wilder winning this fight. My initial pick is Wilder within 4 rounds. Anywhere from 1 through 4, I expect Wilder to have the job done. But if he don't get the job done in the first 4 rounds, I expect him to get the job done anyway. Your boy Bushido placed his bets. I'm covered any which way. Long as Wilder gets the knockout, long as Wilder gets the job done. But other than that, you guys, it's nothing else much more to talk about. Oh, Sean Porter said he's going to be looking to knock out Crawford or something like that, something to that effect. He said he's going to be looking to knock out Bud. We go see. Sean Porter also said, if I'm not mistaken, I was listening to his podcast, I think he said he weighed around 195. 195. Okay? 195. So, yeah, Sean Porter's a really, really big welterweight. He said he's going to be looking for the knockout against Bud. Sean Porter, he better be looking for the knockout because that's what Crawford's going to be doing. That's another great fight. I'm not going to talk too much about it on this monologue. I'm going to save some of that for another date because we got the big heavyweight fights coming up this weekend. Stacked heavyweight card. Fury vs. Wilder 3, the closing of this chapter once and for all. We're going to see who's going to go off to potentially an undisputed fight with Alexander Usyk or Anthony Joshua. Now, me personally, for the AJ Usyk rematch, Eddie Hearn said they're going to start talking at the end of this month to possibly have a fight in probably March, April. But honestly, I'm looking for Usyk to beat AJ, and it's not because I hate AJ or anything like that. I like Anthony Joshua. However, I question if he's going to be looking to face a guy like Wilder after he beats Usyk. I don't think he will. He never showed real interest in the past in facing Wilder, so I'm rooting for Usyk to get the job done because I believe Usyk will go for the Wilder fight to become undisputed in 2 weight classes. I mean, he's almost there, so why wouldn't you? Even though it's to be the most hardest, most dangerous fight of your career, I think Usyk will be up to the task. And the Bronze Bomber said they'd be looking to fight Usyk next. WBC said that the Otto Wallin, Dillian White winner will be facing the Fury Wilder winner next. So, yeah, that's also some, we got some good fights lined up. But if Wilder and Usyk can make something happen, I'd rather see that before anything. But that's all I got for this week, you guys. Like I said before, I got the Bronze Bomber beating Tyson Fury. I don't think I've ever been so certain that a knockout was coming like I feel about this one. I just don't see anything Tyson Fury can do to beat a Wilder this time. I do believe that Wilder was under some type of circumstances in that second fight that enabled Tyson Fury to do what he did. And I don't think it's going to happen again. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.